Hi, everybody. This is Nick with Grimoire, back again for Author's Vox with C Lynn, author of Wash Me Away, a excellent book of poetry that I got the much grateful. What's the word I'm looking for? Uh, I missed it. I read it, and it was fantastic. Is what I'm trying to say. And I can't remember any words right now. But Lynn, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Lynn. I'm a single mom, and I have been enjoying writing. And I wrote "Watch Me Away," and it's been an adventure. So
Fantastic.
thank you for
Opportunity
having
was the
me.
word. Yeah, opportunity was the word I was looking for earlier. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity for us to get to sit down and talk about it. And now I'm going to use opportunity so much that I forget its meaning. Um, so I ask everybody now, Watch Me Away is not a fantasy poetry book, but this is a fantasy podcast at its heart. So I ask everybody who's on the pod for the first time the same question, and that is, what is your favorite magic system? That can be from TV, movies, books, games, anime, whatever you like. You
Yeah.
also don't have to have one if you don't have one.
I've always enjoyed like vampires and werewolves, but I feel like there's so much other magic and fantasies out there, and that we have to bring it together for the connections of people that we forget we also have, that is part of life, and the magic that we need to bring. And I think that's what I write about, is that the poetry has the connections and the reality of fantasies inside of it that we forget each day when we connect with
Mm-hmm.
others. So
Incredible. Yeah. Also, vampires and werewolves. Great choice. Nobody ever says vampires and werewolves. I get a lot of like, I like hard magic. Why not vampires? Vampires have magic, but nobody ever
yeah.
remembers that. Let's talk about you for a second here. So
Okay.
obviously you wrote "Wash Me Away." How long have you been writing?
uh I don't know, when I was a little girl I loved writing songs. I enjoyed doing poetry in school. I tried just being creative, like I was very creative. And then I think I got I got I got into writing so much that I had a stack of poetry, and I got the approval of the person that I wrote the book about, and I just got courageous and did it. And I just wrote I just went and published it.
Um, so the book "Wash Me Away" is this incredibly poignant look at the personal reflection and healing process that a person goes through during a
Yes.
breakup. And you did say you got the permission of the person you wrote the book about. So was this, semi autobiographical? And did you use past experiences? Was there anything, that was leaned towards more of the fiction side that you kind of leaned into for poetic prose reasons? What was that creative process like?
Yeah, it was all by emotions. I feel like when I am feeling my emotions, it just channels, it just comes and just flows, and it's mostly all real life experiences that I just wrote about. And obviously there's some fantasy in the writing too, of like of certain things inside the book too. Like
Mm-hmm.
probably more the chapters of them, that's where the creativity came. And I think um in each book that I have wrote, there's different things that I change just a bit more to be more creative, not just so in that storyline, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, so I do just want to touch on something you said there. So the book is split into what I would call sections. Chapters might be a better term for it, but I'm not super poetically inclined, and sometimes I forget the difference. But all of which are themed with the concept of waves and being washed away, as per the title of the book, "Wash Me Away." Um, when you were writing them and when you were writing these poems, did when grouping them together, what came first? Was like the title of the poem or the concept first?
I think it's the whole concept. I laid them all out on the ground, and I kind of separated, and like, let's say, because it did become a story, I put like an order of how it went for the story, and then again I divided it also into maybe the theme from there too, and then I created the chapter with a certain kind of theme of the element of water with it. So
That's it's very clear throughout that there is, the heavy themes of waves and uh, cleaning the soul, so to speak, through the process of the healing of the breakup. One of the things you've done quite well that I want to highlight is there are aspects of the poems, sorry, that feel so raw and realistic that for a moment I actually forgot I was reading a poem.
oh yeah.
I did start reading it. I'm like thinking of this as, sort of a letter to somebody else, and
Hmm.
it was very very powerful in my opinion that it was something that I had such a reaction to for someone that A, I don't know, and B, I'm not necessarily, like I said, not a huge poetry person, but the profound effect that it had on me, and it stuck with me for quite some time, because I think I read it basically the day I received it, which would have been over a month ago. And I have been thinking about it since. I thought it was very well done.
Thank you.
One of the Oh, absolutely. Thank you for writing it. I do want to just say one of the things that stuck out to me too was the illustrations that accompanied each of them. Uh, when you were coming up with those, or whoever was coming up with those, was there a creative process around them? Did you have a certain idea in mind for how they accompanied each poem, or was there alternate versions that you had at first that you decided later you didn't like? What did that look like?
Well, I'm glad what you said. So I want to go back to what you said too, because that's how I wanted to write. I wanted to connect with people that, even if, let's say, you've never had a bad breakup, it still felt with you, like it still went with you, and it still connected with you somehow. And I love that. That's how I wanted to write my poems. So with each poem, I feel people interpret it so many different ways, how I wrote it. And I love that's about why I love poetry. It's just you might interpret it completely different how I meant to write it. And I feel with the drawings, the illustrations, those bring out exactly what I was trying to get at. That poem was that point of like the poem itself. Just in case you missed my point, like you
Mhm,
can take it how you wanted it, but then like it comes back around into that main story, because I feel like each poem is a little story on its own.
mhm. I definitely got that feeling as well. I feel as if they had like a very distinct storyline from beginning to end. Um, and they were all just slightly different. And I think you used one or two different styles as well that
Mhm.
I can't put a name to, but I did. The fact that I was able to pick up on those at all, is a testament to how well they were written, and how well they were crafted. Because they did. I'm thinking of two, and I can't remember them off the top of my head. Um, Hang on, let me
It's
pull it
like
up here because
freestyle poetry and metaphors or
yes,
similarities.
yeah, the freestyle poetry, the way you've written them, the how do I put this? That is not limited to iambic pentameter, was so much more effective for the story you were trying to tell. And I think that it's done so beautifully that, as someone who has had a bad breakup in the past, I was like, oh wow, okay, I felt everything this has been, and I'm not limited to like the, AB or ACCB, whatever rhyming
Yeah.
scheme. I was like, this is fantastic. This is a great
Yeah.
inclusion there.
Well, thank you.
Um, where was I? Oh, right. So, did you the illustrations? Did you draw them yourself, or did you
Yes.
have someone? You did. Oh, even better.
Yeah. Yeah. I love drawing. I think that was when I wasn't drawing, I was writing when I was younger, and it was mostly cute cartoons, bubbly eyes, and then with these books, I was like, you know what? I want to do it. I want to put all of my soul into it.
hmm
So and I can't do illustrations off my head. I have to see something to come up with the idea.
Hmm.
So, but they're all mine.
Uh, in that case, where did the reference for these illustrations come from? Was it something you had around you, or was it just things that you had that reminded you of the person? Where did that reference come from?
Well, I had to think of, with each illustration, I had to kind of like symbolize one kind of word to best describe that poem and that feeling, so that I would come up with that illustration to find that. And then obviously, like with my imagination, I had to maybe Google search something, like, and it was all line drawings. So I had to maybe Google search certain things, and then I took that part and I did my own way and style and added my own thing with it.
Hmm.
So
The line drawing aspect as well, I think, really lends to the realness of it. I'm looking at some of them here because I finally got the PDF pulled up. Um, there's a few excellent ones, but I think one of my favorites here, and this probably won't show up super well on camera, is that one there,
oh yeah.
uh, which I think speaks volumes. What, as they say, a picture tells is worth a thousand
Many
words.
stories.
Yeah,
Well, I
this
guess
to
you can see
me,
it different ways.
yeah, this to me is so what's the word? It's so vocal without ever actually saying anything, and the piece it is paired with, it's such a perfect pairing that it helps understand the broader themes that you've pulled in, and explains them quite well. So again, I think the process, the compilation you've created is so well oiled and well put together that it's just very
Thank you.
powerful. Um, so let's talk for a second about what the process for writing a poetry book is, and how you came to the conclusion, the ones you wanted to keep and the ones you wanted to omit from this book. um, so when you compile these series like these poems ahead of time, what do you look for when you're deciding what to include? And like, were there poems that you almost had, you were on the verge of, that just didn't work as well, so you kept them out for later? What was that like?
I definitely felt like there was probably so many I could have maybe added in, and I kept this book more on the hanging of heartbreak, and then learning to heal yourself more than really the whole love story.
Hmm.
So I feel like there probably I could have been brought in more light in certain ones, but that's not how I felt at that time. When I wrote it, it was more heavy, and then also I was also on like the healing journey before I met this person. So then I want to continue learning how to heal properly, but I still felt so heavy I couldn't express that lightness yet to
Hmm.
go with it. So I feel like there could have been some more brightness in it. But maybe that's the whole point of the water, and it weighs you down.
Hmm. That's an excellent
So
comparison, I think. Um, when you're writing, did you find that you have like, were you influenced by other poets? Did you look at something like Chaucer and Keats, um, uh, or um, oh, I could see they're very popular. I could see the books in my mind, but I can't remember what they're called. Did you find you were influenced? Do you had other by other poets, or was it something you just kind of, without any influence, wrote out?
when I feel heavier in my state, I enjoy reading poems, and I definitely read a lot of poetry. And the two that really stood out was, I gotta find the name just so I can try to pronounce it properly. Pierre Alex Jeanette and Cindy Sherry.
Okay.
So he wrote Him and Her. He wrote two different poetries, and they're both these poets also have illustrations in it. And her book was Confessions of Her, and she kind of wrote like a story too along, but with a few mixed in stories within her poetry also. So I love those two authors.
Okay. Never heard of either of them, but now
No.
I have to check them out. Like I said, well, I don't even. I will say poetry. even as a teacher, sometimes there's a unit that I have to dedicate a certain amount of time to that I just either can't find in the schedule, or the kids have zero interest in learning. So it
Yeah.
ends up just being regurgitations of like Emily Dickinson and Edgar Allan Poe and stuff like that. And you're like, okay, we can't branch out if you guys don't want to. And they're like, we don't want to. And you're like, okay, all right, well, I guess we're moving on.
Yeah.
Uh and you know, and we talked about this briefly, but poetry is such a subjective art form, right? It requires so much work. Not even so much work, it requires a level of involvement from the reader that you don't get with a lot of other forms.
Mhm.
um and you know, it's basically, it encourages readers to form their own opinions. And now you said you do want people to take different things. um do you think that, you know, you to find a deeper meaning of their own, you want your readers to dig really deep down with inside themselves? Or do you think that you've created like a poetic narrative that kind of focuses that point a little bit? So instead of, you know, readers making these giant deductions or what they think, you kind of have it narrowed down to more about of a self, especially in this book, a self-healing, self-reflective viewpoint.
Mhm. I feel like it's a bit of both. I want you to like go through the phases of like how, especially this book, how I wrote it, like love, heartbreak, separation, and then digging deep in yourself of what am I supposed to do next? Like you're heartbroken. Like normally we avoid our feelings. We don't know how. We were never taught how to express or feel them and how to heal them and how to heal ourselves properly. So in our my healing journey, I've really tried to learn how to heal certain things, and I really wanted to connect with this book with that and others of relationship healing. So I think that hopes others helps others encourage themselves to look inside themselves more after relationship and not focus on someone else.
That makes a lot of sense, quite frankly. So we did. So this book, this is this your, is this your first published poetry book?
Yeah.
Yes. Are there plans for other poetry books? Are you looking to branch out into other forms of literature, or are you looking at doing more? Actually, what I'm asking here is, are all your books going to have a different theme? I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. I have already one printed. It's Earth one, and it doesn't have a storyline. I feel like it's more. It touches on certain things. So each chapter is a different. Is like maybe trauma, heartache, happiness, friends. There's a sex theme on it. Like there's a certain kind of chapters that have certain kind of meaning and expression to them. So it's a little
Mhm.
different style, and so that's Earth. And then I'm working on right now Fire, so that should be out soon. I have, and then All the Elements. So I'm working on All the Elements for
Mhm.
my series, and I'm also branching out because I do have two young kids and they love reading, and I created a children's book. So I'm hoping to publish that soon too. Work on that.
Fair
It,
enough.
it, it won't be poetry though. It'll be actually a kid's book with stories.
makes that makes total sense. So let's talk about that for a second. When you write poetry, it's obviously it's very real, very visceral, and very vulnerable.
Yeah.
The children's book you wrote, or
Mhm.
are writing, or whatever stage of the process you're in, editing, whatever. Um, was there a big challenge making that jump between the two, or did you find that, not to say, because children's literature is incredibly hard to write.
Yeah.
Um, did you find that you had to work a little bit differently than when you're writing the poetry? Because poetry like is so structured and everything, and then children's books can sometimes be a little unstructured or
Yeah.
loose form.
I don't know. I feel my life and my challenges of up and downs, I've just used my life as everything that I can go off of. And I created the
Mhm.
book, the children's book, about my childhood in a way. And I made it magical too. There's like there's a fantasy character in it. So
I would say I think most children's childhoods. There's a tongue twister. Most childhoods are through the lens of nostalgia. Sometimes quite magical. So that's
yeah.
makes a lot of makes quite the comparison. I do want to talk for a second about because we talk a lot about on this podcast when I have authors on here. I talk about the editing process, but so far
Okay.
I have not had anyone on here who's written a poetry book. And I'm curious because, poetry is so different than prose because each word and everything is selected specifically for the poem itself. Whereas prose could be like, you don't need that extra qualifier there. That adjective is unnecessary.
Hmm.
But for even the spelling of some words is intentional in poetry. What does the editing process and like the beta reading process look like for a book like Wash Me Away?
Uh, Funny, actually, I'm also dyslexic. So it, I don't know, I feel like this was a big encouragement for myself and a big proud moment to overcome something that has been a challenge in myself. So it was just finding the right team. And I told them that, like, I write spiritually in a way too, of like, I need someone that understands certain things. So you don't take that meaning away from my poems, also. So it was just letting them know, like, this is what I'm looking for and my challenges. And they definitely helped out with it to put it together.
So you did have a team to help you with this. So
Yes.
there was encouragement and support. Perfect.
There was
Yeah.
definitely like an editing thing. So I would have everything and then they would just come and help me edit the editing package with the publisher.
Perfect. So I have two more questions for you here, and neither of them are directly related to Wash Me Away, but they are very
Okay.
important. And you have said that you have children, so as you are probably aware, if they're in school, literacy rates in Canada, the United States, even in Mexico, are struggling for a lot of
Yeah.
reasons. And let's say you're standing in front of a high school English class, elementary English class, university English class, an English class, creative writing class, whatever. And one of the students have asked you to give one good reason as to why people should spend more time reading and writing. What would you tell them?
I feel that just even journaling is part of healing. So feel your emotions, allow yourself to write it out, read it, draw. Just find that happy place. Like, you don't need to write a whole story to feel your emotions. You can do point form. You can just express in one word of your feelings, and then you can like spiderweb off of that. It just feeling to heal yourself in that moment, to encourage people to write more. And I think that's mostly what my books are about, is voice, encouragement, finding yourself. Because we, especially more, I guess, my era, it's our parents didn't know how to handle when we brought emotions to us, to them. So now we have to reteach ourselves to teach our kids.
Hmm. It's interesting. I ask everybody that question, and we get a lot of, it's important because you experience empathy. It's important because you grow. Not one person yet has mentioned it helps to heal. It helps to express emotion. It helps to, create safe spaces. So, to your credit, that is an excellent point to be brought up. And I'm glad someone has said it because I haven't decided yet, but as I said, I teach English at a high school level, and I was debating on, compiling all of those answers that I get from people and showing them to students. And I'm glad that somebody has brought up healing because that is an epidemic we don't talk about enough in the
Yeah.
school system. Students are struggling, and they need to express some of that. I got one final structured question for you, then we'll move on to the rapid fire. The structured question I have for you is as a poet, and as someone who has published work, if someone is listening now and they are an author, a poet, and they are looking to do what you do, what is some advice you would give them to achieve that goal?
Don't give up. It's scary. It's lonely. It's overwhelming. There was so many roadblocks, and I still come up with roadblocks. I keep pushing through. I keep finding new ways, and I just keep trying to find right people to connect with to get to hopefully where I want to see myself later on. But it's just finding that right publisher too that will help. And I used Freeze and Press with the first two books, and they were great to start off with. And I'm hoping that the next publishers will get me even farther along too.
Mm-hmm. Don't give up is a great piece of advice.
Yeah.
Uh, amazing. So we now have the last, which is the 10 rapid fire questions I do with everybody. I'm going to ask you 10 questions. Just tell me either or. You don't have to give an answer. Not an answer. You do have to answer. Don't give an explanation. That's what I'm trying to say. Because they're just supposed to be quick. So first and foremost, we have pen and paper or computers when you write.
Pen and paper.
Pen or pencil?
Pen.
And as you go or when you're finished?
As you go or when you finish. I don't know how to answer that one.
Fair enough. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Beach day or camping?
Beach day.
Movies or TV?
Movies.
Live action or animated?
Live action.
Long form story or short form story? So long serial or short one shot?
Short.
Oh, I lost the last one. Board games or card games?
Card games.
What's the word I'm talking about? What was it? Oh no, I lost the last one. Shopping. I remember now. Shopping trip or sports event?
Both. I got kids and I need therapy for myself too.
It's totally fair. And finally, early to bed or early to rise?
Early to bed to early to rise.
Fantastic. Okay, that was, I believe, 10. Again, I lost count. I have to find that stack of sticky notes. Thank you so much, Lynn, for coming on today. If you are listening to this, you should definitely pick up Wash Me Away. It is a very poignant, powerful poetry novel, and it definitely helps. Would you like to promote anything before we say goodbye?
I guess my Earth book. It's out. It's available. You can find it probably right next to Wash Me Away.
Even better. Pick it up if you are someone who loves poetry, if you're someone who doesn't like poetry, if you've gone through a breakup, if you're thinking about going through a breakup, by all means, pick it up. And yeah, thank you so much, Lynn, for being here. It has been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to read what you write next.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. That, as always, stay magical, my friends, and I will see you soon.